So over the last 8.5 years of running my SMMA, my online guy, I've closed literally millions of dollars of deals, all without a guarantee. And I'm often asked how I'm able to go about that. And anyone that's watched this channel for a while knows I'm a big believer in it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to say things by giving some feedback to someone very special to me, which is myself. I've got a very special video for you guys today, and you're really going to watch this if you want to improve your sales game. So for those who don't know who I am, my name is Jimmy. Everyone calls me Uncle Jimmy, and I've been running my marketing agency, My Online Guy, for 8.5 years. And I'm also a coach over at Easy Grow, which is Charlie Morgan's course, and I help agency owners improve their service delivery so they keep clients forever. All right, here it is, guys. I'm a little bit nervous about this one, to be completely honest. I never expected to pull this video out of the archives, but this is me from 2011. And the day of recording this is almost 12 years ago. So I was a lot younger back then. I was also a lot less experienced when it comes to talking, because a lot of people out there say that, oh, it's easy for you to sell the way you do because you're so good at communicating. And I keep telling people, it's a practiced thing. It's a practiced skill. And if there's one piece of advice I can give anyone, if you're not going to watch this video, it's practice how to talk with inflection, and practice how to talk with conviction, because it makes a massive difference in your ability to be able to sell. Case in point is this young guy here that we're about to watch the video of. I was a lot younger back then. I had a better hairline. Had some pretty wild hair going on, to be fair. This is from a startup weekend, and I was about 24, 25 in this video. And what I want to do is do a bit of a critique on the way I used to talk back then, and some of the changes I made to the way I communicate that has made me a more effective communicator, which has allowed me to sell. I'm not going to lie, I feel a little embarrassed playing this video because I'm so different now than I was back then, but that's part of personal growth, right? So without further ado, guys, hopefully you enjoy this. So I'm just going to pause this video periodically as I want to contribute a few bits and pieces, a little bit of tidbits and wisdom on the things that young Jimmy can improve on to make his communication more effective.
4.0, woo. Okay,
God,
as you can see, I'm pretty comfortable with myself, right? Now, I wasn't always like this. When I was 16 or 17, I was probably the shyest person in this room.
Okay, so there's a couple of things I noticed already straight off the bat. Firstly, my pacing is so different to how I talk now than when I used to talk back then. Obviously, my voice has got deeper. I'm almost 40 now. That's a natural thing when you get older, but my pacing is so different. So you see when I talk now, even when I am excited, I still don't talk this hypo speed. So like this is at one speed and it's almost barely understandable because I'm speaking so fast. So one of the things I've done over time is I've learned to slow down when I speak. And I've learned to use inflection and pacing and pausing to emphasize things that are important, because that first sentence was very important. The whole being comfortable talking now, being comfortable in my own skin now, but not being comfortable in the past was an important aspect I needed to slow down and really take note of. So let's keep going, because there's a couple of other things here that I'll bring up in a sec. And again, I wasn't sure whether I was going to make this video, but it's nice to look back and see how much improvement I've made over the years in regards to communication.
Couldn't even call up for a haircut. Okay, that's how bad I was. The only reason that changed is because I went and joined the military, and I met hundreds of individual people with their own problems, and I learned off them.
Okay, so you can see the inkling of the inflection, and you can see the inkling of the speaking with conviction coming through, right? I talk about this a lot. Speaking with influence and speaking with power and speaking with authority comes with time, right? I mean, you have to have the raw components to be able to do that. As you can see in this video, there's inklings there of being able to talk the way I talk now in this. But you can see that it's a learned skill. It's not something that everyone is good at from the very start. If I was to communicate the way I do in this video now, not only would half of you guys not listen to me, but B, I wouldn't close anywhere near as many deals because it doesn't come off as trustworthy. And that's a big thing when it comes to selling, is you've got to talk in a way that builds trust, because a lot of sales is really just passing trust on from one person to another person. So let's continue on.
I really did. I think that like this kind of stuff is a science. Being socially comfortable with yourself and acceptable is a science. And I think we can create something that can really help people in that situation that I...
Okay, so you would have noticed when I started getting emotional, because it's a really passionate topic of mine. So a little bit of background. Before I joined the military, I could barely pick up a phone. I had that bigger anxiety, social anxiety. I couldn't even pick up a phone to call for a freaking haircut. That's how bad it was for me. And I used to get bullied relentlessly at school, like a lot of you guys do. I got bullied relentlessly at school. And it was only because of the military and speaking to so many different people from so many different walks of life that I was able to come out of my shell. And basically the cliff notes of what I'm trying to pitch here in this weekend is like a platform where I wish, a platform that I could speak to others the same way I could wish I could speak to my like 16-year-old self to tell them everything was going to be all right. Okay, so that's the context. But you can see when I started talking with passion and I started slowing down naturally because I had to think about what I was going to say. I was sitting here nervous, almost in tears, and I was like, I'm not going to cry in front of 100 freaking people, right? So I needed to like slow down the way I spoke and I needed to think about what I was going to say. And this is where the conviction starts to come in, right? So let's continue to listen to this.
Was when I was in 16 and 17. We can have a mentor-based system, like a platform that mentors can talk to people that really need it, initially anonymously, and really get the information they require from these people.
Okay, so you can see I was trying really hard here not to and ah. I kind of thought about this before I jumped on stage. It's like, I don't want to sit here and and ah, but the problem is now the conversation is so fragmented that it's very difficult to keep up. So what you start to learn over time, and what's something you need to practice over time when you're communicating, is knowing when to take pauses. So the thing with pauses is they help with impact. So if you pause at the right time, you create a certain amount of impact, which gives people time to process what you're saying. So when I listen to a lot of sales calls, I hear people just basically speed running through what they have to say. And the person on the other side is basically overwhelmed with the amount of information they have to process in one hit. So the beauty about pausing and learning when to pause when you talk is that it gives you time to breathe so that the conversation comes out naturally. So you can see here, I'm doing the same thing as I'm doing here, but the pauses are more natural. And because they're more natural, I don't go, I'm more like conversation point, pause, conversation point, pause, conversation point, pause. And what pausing allows to happen, it allows other people to interject in what they're saying, which allows them to have genuine communications with you and genuine conversations with you. So let's keep going.
Really just want someone that can help me and has the same vision that I do to really create something that can change the world.
Okay, so you can see here, I'm starting to get a little bit excited. When I get excited, I tend to talk really fast and the ums and ahs start coming back. One of the best things I ever did was start to practice talking so I talk less with ums and ahs. Now, I still do it. If you guys get on any coaching calls with me, you'll know I and ah and things like that. But in certain settings, I do a lot less of it. And it's because when it's important, I need to have impact when I talk, I slow right down. You can see the pacing of the way I talk is way different. So in this video, I'm like, I need someone to help me do this. And the reason I need someone to help do this is I need the passion. I need someone with passion. I need someone that's going to come in here. It sounds almost manic in the way I talk. And it's a combination of not wanting to be there and being nervous and just the natural way I talk. You can hear when I talk now, I'm a lot slower. I'm a lot more impactful. I'm a lot more deliberate with my wording and the way I say it. And I'm also a lot more descriptive with my hands. And I use my hands to help emphasize the point. So some of these guys would have noticed when I talk a lot that I talk with my hands. And so this is a deliberate strategy. I've found when I talk with my hands, it helps me work out where I need to pause. Basically, when I do that is where I need to pause. So that's just been a learned thing over time, but it's something that can really help you get better at talking. Or because you're sitting behind a desk doesn't mean you can't move your hands. The more animated you are, the more you move, the more chance you have of someone taking notice of what you're saying, because humans are attracted to movement. And because they're attracted to movement, when you move, and I'm not talking about going like this and like ducking and like moving to side, but when you move, especially in an online setting or through a webcam, when you move, it keeps attention. It's like follow the bouncing ball, follow the bouncing ball around. It's the same principle, okay? So you want to talk with your hands, and because you're talking with your hands, it actually naturally slows down the way you talk because your brain is doing two things at once. So let's keep going.
Piece of paper is going to have a massive smiley face on it, so look for that one if you want to join up.
So, okay, so obviously that was a quick video, but there's definitely things there that could be improved. And I'm going to go through them now. Obviously, a little bit embarrassing because, like I said, it was a long time ago. I've changed a lot as a human being since back then, but it's great to see the improvement in my speaking because it's something I've put a lot of effort into. And honestly, this is the thing. The more time I've spent practicing how I talk, the more money I've made. So I've just put a lot of effort in the last 13, however long this was, 12 years, in practicing how I talk. Okay, guys, so that's obviously a lot of just recommendations and advice. Now let's put this into practice. So you're probably wondering how I was able to improve my speaking so much over the years. And like I said at the very start, it's a concerted effort. I put effort into acknowledging that the way I communicated wasn't the best way to do it, and I needed to get better at it. So what I would do every single day, and admittedly I don't do this now, but I would highly recommend if you want to get better at talking, this is what you do every single day. If you don't, the old school way of doing it was standing in front of a mirror and talking to yourself. That's the old school way of doing it. The new school way of doing it is every single day. I'm talking like 10, 20 minutes a day, every single day, 7 days a week. I want you to bring up Loom and I want you to talk about a topic you're not familiar with, right? Then I want you to watch back your Loom and be critical of the way you talk. If you do that every single day, I guarantee you will get better at talking because you are going to be your harshest critic and you're going to listen back to that stuff the same way I listen to this and listen to it critically and go, what do I need to do differently? And I'm not talking about you changing yourself, right? This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's ultimately about amplifying the positive ways you communicate and nerfing the not so positive ways of communicating. Because ultimately sales at the end of the day is like any other professional skill. You've got to practice it. You've got to get better at it. And one of the best ways to get better at sales is to get better at talking. And I'm going to end on this. One of the secrets to being able to communicate effectively is connecting this with this. A lot of people don't have a direct connection between their mouth and their ears. And I'm not talking about saying stupid things and stuff like that. I'm talking about the reason I'm able to communicate as effectively as I do is because I'm listening to everything in real time. A lot of people out there actually hate the sound of their own voice. They just don't like the sound of their own voice. And because of that, they subconsciously don't listen to themselves when they talk. So they don't hear what they're saying. And because they don't hear what they're saying, they can't change it in real time. The beauty about practicing in front of Loom every single day is eventually get to the point where you get comfortable with your own voice. And what that allows you to do is start hearing yourself talk, and it starts allowing you to change the way you talk in real time given the situation you're in. This is the superpower. Anyone that does sales for an extended period of time has a really good connection between their mouth and their ears for their own voice. And they can hear what they're saying in real time and adjust it and tweak it based on how it's being received on, say, a sales call. This is a really, really important skill to have. And I guarantee you a lot of you are struggling to communicate because this is not connected to this and you really don't like the sound of your own voice. So guys, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to join my free school group if you haven't yet. We talk a lot about service delivery and I'll catch you in the next video.